Hello and welcome to a new edition of Design for the Times. I'm your host, Richard Christopher Scuderi. I'm very happy to have in studio somebody who makes me be the best that I can be, at least my hair, that is. And her name is Stacey Zackios.
Hello.
Hello, and she's with Crusades Barbershop in Flemington, New Jersey. But this company is so much more than just a barbershop. It is a salon for men. It is a statement, and I think it reflects the decor and the attitude there reflects something that I thought was quite interesting, and I wanted you guys to learn more about Crusade. So welcome to our program.
Thank you. Thanks
So
for having me.
let's talk about manscaping and men taking better care of themselves. Don't you think, Stacey, men are much more willing now to take better care of their physical selves and grooming?
I think so, definitely. Over the last probably 15 years,
Yeah.
Men really have gotten into the whole metrosexual.
Definitely.
Definitely. I mean, even you have your blue collar men, which I come from a family of blue collar men. They take care of themselves, much more than used to.
I think some of that probably has to do with, I think women, now you could answer to this, women want their men to be a little bit groomed. Do you think that that's also true?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, just even talking to men, which is a great thing to be at the barbershop.
Right.
It's an all the people that work there are women.
Right.
So
how many women work there?
5.
So 5 women. Okay.
Yeah, there's 5 of us, and it's pretty interesting to be able to have men come in and talk to them, and then them being able to talk to the opposite sex women, you
Right.
know, while we're doing their hair.
Well, it's very comfortable there. And one of the things that we talked about in the green room is that I've gone to salons for services through the year, and they felt like, this is such an old-fashioned word, like a beauty parlor, like a ladies' den. And it was uncomfortable for me sometimes to be in that environment. What I think you've done with Crusades that's nice is that it is sort of a men's salon. It's more than just I wouldn't say it's a barbershop per se, although in fact it is a barbershop, but more of like a salon. So you can go in there, you can get your hair washed, as I did today.
Right.
You can get a haircut, you can get other services. So why don't you tell us some of the services that you offer there? Obviously haircuts.
Right. So we do haircuts, we do beard trims. I started offering highlights to men, color. We've been doing color.
Do most men color their hair just to cover gray?
Most of the time, yeah. Men typically don't
Color their hair.
Yeah, they want to stay natural looking. They want to
Sure.
stay, in their youthful years, just to balance out the gray, get rid of it a little bit.
Is it often about preserving youth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
That's huge, especially for men. I mean, obviously women too, but men, they seem to be more comfortable per se in their own skin.
Sure.
But they still, it's not something that's talked about. Like you said, like when you maybe had gone into a salon, you feel
Right.
uncomfortable about maybe
Yeah.
getting certain services done
Right.
because you're in an atmosphere of other women
Right.
getting their hair done as
Right.
well. So
But being a men's salon, there's a comfort there. There's a comfort with the team that you've put together, because this is really, you've come up with this. You've come up with the name, you've come up with the look. So tell me how this all came about. You grew up in New Jersey, correct?
I did. I grew up in Hunterdon County.
Right,
Yep.
and then you left for a while.
I left for 15 years. I
Right.
had gotten married and went to North Carolina.
And then you had a life change and you came back and you reinvented yourself.
Yes.
When you came back, you also reinvented the shop.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me about decorating. This is something we haven't done yet on the program. Tell me about decorating a salon, decorating a barber shop. How is that maybe different than decorating your home?
Decorating, I think, a business or a barber shop, I still put my touches to it.
Sure.
But I had other people in mind, because when they come in, I want people to, just like when you have somebody come into your home, you want them to feel invited and
comfortable,
welcome,
right?
comfortable.
And you've done that.
Right.
I think you did a nice job with the salon and some of the things that you did, the shop. I noticed the palette right away of sort of a gray-black palette, which I think is just purposefully masculine. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the classic gray-black palette is very nice. I think originally it was a little bit more juvenile, and you made it a little bit more sophisticated, right?
Right. It was an existing barber shop, and then I'd come and reinvented it. It's a family business, so I had the opportunity to. We just pretty much took everything down, what it was, and it was sports themed. So a lot of kids would come in.
Right.
I think 15 years ago when it had opened, it worked.
Right.
But just like anything else, things evolve
And change, right?
and change.
Exactly.
Right. And it was time for a change.
Yeah, so you came in fresh, you reinvented yourself. You came here, you started with a blank palette, you got rid of everything else, you went with a gray and black palette, and then you needed a pop. And we talk about this on the program and also my radio show about when you have a gray palette, you need a pop.
Right.
So your pop is?
The red.
The red.
Yeah.
And what made you pick red?
I think it's a powerful color.
Yeah,
I think
red is power, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a powerful color, and it's a statement. You can't deny seeing it.
Exactly, because it's power. But let's talk about the name. Now, it was a different name before, and you came up with the name, and then, of course, we'll talk about the staff. But what made you come up with the name?
I had a life-changing event, and I was a stay-home mom. I was a military spouse down in North Carolina, and came back up here.
The name just sort of denotes strength. Is that where it comes from?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's I came up with the name because of my own experiences, and I really love doing hair.
Yeah. And you're good. You know what, you can tell you're good at it.
Yeah, I thank you. But if you can make somebody look good on the outside,
sure,
I think internally they're going to feel better. So whether that is a haircut or
any service,
any service,
yeah.
It's about first impressions are most important. And if you feel good, however that may be, whether it's the clothes you wear to the haircut you have, and me being a hairdresser, that's just one thing that I can bring to somebody else's table to make them feel better.
So let me ask you a question. Men or women, who would you rather work on?
I like both.
Yeah, okay.
I like both.
But different, right?
Different. They're different.
What is the typical male experience? Do they have a preconceived notion of what they want? Is a man coming in with a picture, or no, only a woman's coming in with a picture?
Women tend to come in more with pictures. Women tend to come in knowing exactly what they want.
Right.
There's pros and cons, but I like working with both just because the men and women are just different people.
Right.
Men, it's a very relaxed, comfortable environment. I think men will come in, they don't really know what they want, and me as a woman, looking at a man, I can kind of put my own personal spin and say, okay, this is what you want, and then I look at you and say, okay, well, you know what? Here, how about this? Because I'm looking at you as a woman, and saying, you know what? If you didn't, let's say you had color, I would look at you and say, okay, well, this might look better on you,
right?
Or this haircut's going to look better. Because
so the perspective would be right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you do obviously the haircuts for men, the beard trims, the color to color gray, and then highlights. Are men, do you think, more open to getting highlights? Younger men, maybe?
Definitely younger men. Oh, younger men. I mean, you're talking like teenage boys, like high school age, probably college age.
I'm seeing purple. I think guys today and the young ladies as well are just open in general
colors.
to everything. But colors, right?
Yeah, I think the younger generation, the teens and the early 20s, they're definitely open to pretty much anything. Like almost anything goes, just like clothing. It seems like almost anything goes.
Anything goes. So in Crusades, you did something that I thought was kind of smart. It's something that we talked about. I'm not going to take credit for it. You did it, and I appreciate how it looked today when I was in this morning. That originally I think you had sort of a bench style seating, and then or close together, and now you had all individual chairs. And I thought maybe that was because it's been my life experience that people, especially men, don't necessarily like to sit that close to each other. So having individual chairs makes it more comfortable. Now, I don't know if you have that many people all the time at the same time, but what was the impetus for the change in the reception area? Because I think that's very truthful for how I do furniture for people.
Right. Right, and I tend to take other people's feedback, so I
Sure.
always like, that's another thing. I mean,
Did someone say that to you?
Yes, I have. I have a few guy friends,
Right.
and so I would get their feedback,
Right.
because this is a barber shop, and
And
it's
you
for
want
men.
it to be reflective and comfortable of the patrons, right?
Yes, right. So I kind of feed off other people and their opinions.
Right.
So and I had the feedback, and they said, I'm a big guy, and I like to have my space. They don't want to sit so close.
Right.
Men like to have their elbow room.
Exactly. I think probably even more so in that environment.
Right.
But the same thing that makes that uncomfortable makes it comfortable because you're going to sort of a barber shop. You're getting a haircut, you're in a men's place. So if you have a service, then it's not as much of a stigma or a big deal. And I think that's kind of important.
Definitely.
Now let's talk a little bit about waxing, because waxing is said that's something that you do. I think the perception of people, and I don't want to be too personal on the program airs in morning and then early evening, talking about manscaping and waxing, those kind of things. I think more and more women want to see men, or men's even, going to the gym. The aesthetic is that men are not hairy anymore. Is that true?
Right. Just like women, have groomed themselves for years.
Sure.
I think now that men are taking better care of themselves, and they're more conscious of it.
Right.
They're more open to talking about their, grooming or taking care of themselves.
But
So,
I even
yes,
think there might even be pressure on men that are dating to remove hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think people are more open, whether it's in relationships or whatnot,
Right.
So waxing is definitely becoming more popular for men, so we offer grooming, eye grooming is what I call it, which is basically waxing.
And
your
these are
eyes.
things that really men, whether you're blue collar or you're corporate America, or you're having videos or you're on television or whatever, some of those basic grooming is just sort of essential. Like if you have eyebrows that are out of shape or what have you, just fixing that,
Right.
something you probably couldn't do on your own easily, or maybe if you're excessively hairy, the shoulders or back, just making yourself kind of feel better.
Yeah, I think it's been more socially acceptable for women to be doing this for many, many years.
Right.
And now it shouldn't be just that. It should be for men too, and
Right.
and they should feel comfortable to say, we're working a lot more. Is it the retirement age of 67? I mean,
Right.
we need to keep ourselves up and looking the part.
I think life has changed in a way that men are now, for the first time, and women have been so unfairly judged, right? You're 40, you're 20, you're 40, you're 70, you're 90. They want you to look young. And for men, I think we've been able to slide a little bit. But I think that is starting to change a little bit. And because it's becoming a little bit more equal, or at least we're working on making it a little bit more equal, I think men are starting to feel the pressure of being maybe a little bit more fit now, being more groomed, just sort of, so it's sort of a leveling thing.
Right.
And that's why, to me, a men's salon or the barbershop per se is, I think, a great place to be. Now, tell us where Crusades is located.
We are on Route 31 in Flemington.
In Flemington. You're right nearby the Flemington department store, right?
Right near the Flemington. Yep. Right on that side. We're right across. There's a Walmart and a Lowe's. We're right across the way. It's very easy to get to.
And what is the phone number of Crusades?
It is 908-284-0019.
Terrific. And do you have a website?
It's crusadesbarbers.com.
Terrific. No, it's just a place that I felt, I met you obviously at another place, but I felt very comfortable as a man coming to a place that wasn't like a lady salon, where you felt comfortable, where you can get in and out. And it just, comfort for men, it's sort of, when you're in those environments, you can feel very, very intimidated. I've gone to a lot of salons and felt very intimidated, and maybe walked away with something that I really hated and didn't want because I didn't feel I could articulate what I wanted.
Right. And I know your schedule is very busy. And,
Right.
and I was going to say, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
appointments are great, but in salons, most of the times you're booking appointments. Men tend to be
walk in.
I need to get this done. I'm driving by. Let me pop in.
Right.
We accept walk-ins.
Walk-in business. Walk-ins welcome. That's a good thing.
Yes.
So we have this sort of bag of tricks here that I want to talk a little bit about, and I think it's very interesting. And I will let our viewers know this is my real hair. But many of us get to be a certain age, or maybe even younger, or for whatever reason, or health issues. And hair loss is something that you deal with at Crusades.
Right.
So why don't you talk a little bit about what you are doing, because it's very innovative, interesting, and very natural looking. So tell me a little bit about your solution for hair loss.
So I'm a big advocate on going to classes. Always have been. I took a hair class. It's hair restoration. It's by Hair Skiing.
Okay.
They've been doing it in France for years. It's blowing up over there, and they are bringing it into the States. Of course, there's been hair replacement, and it's actually a very quiet industry. But it's coming out into the salons now, coming out to hairdressers.
Sure.
So it's a non-surgical hair replacement. And the great thing is that you don't have to go to a hair club for men or whatnot. It's not surgical, but it's non-surgical. And if you are experiencing hair loss, whether you're a man or a woman, I could put hair back on your head.
Wow. And it sounds like probably relatively quickly.
Yes, it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
My goodness. So tell me how the process would work. If somebody was watching our program and they thought, you know, I'm not feeling good about myself. I want to explore the possibility, but I'm afraid of surgery, you know, ridiculous expense, what could happen, side effects, and so on. Tell me how, if somebody was interested in maybe restoring their hair, what would be the first process? They'd make an appointment with you?
Call and you make a consultation. I could speak to them.
Now, you're in your shop, you're the only one that does the hair
yes, this is
restoration.
This is something I'm personally passionate about, and
Sure.
I want to bring in for myself. We're closed on Sunday, Mondays, and this is a very personal and private thing.
Right.
So I would make an appointment with them to come in to do a consultation, and I can explain to them
In a private way, that's nice.
Yes, it's personal. I mean, everybody's situation is different. For
Sure.
you know, this might not be for some people. You know, some people might be completely fine. You know, there's many men that just decide that they're just going to shave their entire head, but for some men, like, I mean, you're a professional, and you know, it's very individual. So
it depends. To me, my hair is my identity.
Right.
So, but not everybody feels that way. Some people, you know, just shave their head every year. A lot of
Right.
times when I was in grammar school, they would call it back then a beezer. Do you remember that word?
No.
And that was that you had the summer haircut. It was like the last day of school, and then you had that stubble on your head all summer until September when your hair grew in. I never did that. I liked the hair. I was like a person that liked having a little hair on their head.
Yeah. Yep.
But so it would start with like somebody learning about that you offer this process,
Right.
and then setting up a private consultation. What do you look for in somebody for a consultation? Is there some people that this wouldn't be good for, or?
I think it just, well, if you have a full head of hair, this is not going to be good for you.
Exactly. So does someone have to be sort of just spot hair removal, or a certain amount of hair, or?
The majority of the people that I see, and granted, the women too, women suffer from
Yeah,
alopecia.
we shouldn't exclude women. Yeah, a lot.
Alopecia areata. Like
Sure.
it's a women have spots of balding.
Sure.
So it's not just for men, but because I have the barber shop, that's kind of where I'm focusing on. But of course, I would do women too.
So let's say somebody comes in to you, gentlemen. He happens to be a redhead, and he's balding in the front. What's the next step? Is it hard to match up colors or textures? Like, how does it work?
No, I mean, if you don't mind,
I do. Would love to see some of this.
Show you.
Okay. Can I, while you're looking for that, can I
Here
check
we
it?
go.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
I found it.
All right.
So I have swatches.
Okay.
And
Oh, so you can do a color match.
yeah, so if you were to come in for a consultation,
There are a lot of matches. Wow.
I can match up anybody's hair.
Okay.
There's grays, there's brown, anything.
Right.
And the great thing about this is that it's real hair, So you can color it, you can cut it, you can perm it. The only thing that you can't do is highlight it. So if like for someone like you, that you like your hair blonde, no, because it's real hair, but it's also some of the hair is made from an animal yak. So
it'll be resistant to color.
Well,
or bleach.
It's the heat. You have to be careful with the heat, even
Oh,
when
okay,
blow drying. If you're gonna, you want to don't. There's certain things that I would discuss and let people know. Like if you were a client coming in, I would go through this on what to do and what not to do, how to take care of it and whatnot.
So you'd meet somebody, you want to make sure that they feel comfortable, and you're very good at making people feel comfortable. You'd assess their hair loss, and then you would do the match test, right?
I would do the match. I would match them up to what they have.
Is it hard to match? Because most people have multicolor hair, especially as they get older. Is it hard to match?
No, it's not, because a lot of these colors actually, in which you probably can't tell because we're on.
Well, they're very
on
natural
camera.
looking, right?
They're all natural looking, but some of them have a little bit of gray in there, you know.
Right.
So,
no, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can match up anybody's hair.
So you match up a hair color, and then what comes next?
We just set up an appointment. I mean, I can have the hair system.
Okay.
Within a day. I can order it within a day. They'll overnight it to me. It comes.
So you're basically doing hair loss in the spots where it is.
Right.
Okay.
So this is actually a hair unit.
Okay.
That hasn't been touched yet. Still
Okay.
even has the tag on it.
Okay.
And there's a skin and there's a lace. This is what it will come depending on the color.
Okay.
And then it is applied by a medical adhesive.
So you take the bald area,
right.
You put on a medical adhesive,
right. So I would.
And then
take
how
it
long does that take to
do.
cure? No, the medical adhesive, is it instantaneous?
Yes.
And then what's on the inside of that? It seems like there's like a surface that's a little sheen to it.
This is actually a skin.
Okay.
They call it skin. There's also a lace. This one is a lace. This is something
I've
I
heard
did.
the term lace cap wig. What's the difference between the two?
I personally like how the
skin
is better.
Okay.
On the skin. I think it holds better.
Right.
That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
But either which one is fine.
Right.
But what I would do is when you come in, I would make a template of the area that we're going to be doing.
How do you measure on a round surface? What do you do?
On a head?
Yeah.
It's almost like taking a molding of your head.
Yeah, neat.
And yeah, and there's
you create a template.
I have a process that was taught to me that I do, and then I have a specific. So that would be like a one-time thing, because after I have that template of your personal head,
right,
that area, then I'm good.
You're set.
And there is a just like women when they get their nails done, there is a process where you have to come back.
Maintenance.
There is a maintenance. When I put this on, though, with the medical adhesive, it's not coming off.
Oh, it stays.
Until you come back to me, and then I take it off, I clean it. But I mean, for people that are in construction, or people that maybe if you want to go scuba dive, gym, this is something that you don't have to worry about. You know, like if somebody I've done it at the hair class. I even said
it's not going to fly off.
It's not, and you can pull it, and it's not coming off.
All right, they say you decide something happens. You see a picture, you don't like the way you look. You come in, I meet with you. You match up the hair. You, I guess, order it. It takes a very short time to come in.
If you wanted to do it right away, I mean, I could have it probably within 24 hours.
Wow, so it's a very quick turnaround. You put the medical adhesive on. You put the unit on.
Right.
So, how do you take care of it after that? When you go home?
Well, I would go through the whole process. I mean, just like anything, you have to shampoo it. You don't want to scrub. There's a whole process that
do you
I
have to be very careful with it? It sounds like it's pretty solid when it goes on.
It is solid, and I mean, you don't want to be sitting there scrubbing your head.
No. But so with this unit, with this hair, and then in your own hair, and obviously you'd have to wash your hair other places anyway. You would just Put shampoo on your whole head.
Yeah.
And there's no problem with shampoo. Should you stay away from certain shampoos?
I mean, you know, professional products would be better.
Right.
But
would you want to limit
no.
shampooing, or?
I'm sorry?
Would you want to limit shampooing, but not every day?
No,
or
once a day is fine.
Okay.
I mean, you can treat this just like, once it's on, you can
Right.
treat this just like it is your hair.
Well, it sounds like a terrific solution.
I mean, once it's on, people really don't even know the difference.
Yeah.
You know, even for themselves. So,
That's terrific, and you probably instantaneous, because people have that reckoning that they don't feel good about themselves. It's nice they could do something quickly,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then you have instantaneous. You take a
Right.
picture and you feel better. I'd love for you to show us, because we only have about 3 minutes left, the difference with the head you have
Right.
here.
So
I'm going to call him Fred, because Head and
Okay.
Fred sound alike. So Fred's a nice looking guy, but has no hair on top.
No.
So when you put the unit on, I couldn't believe the difference, which is just ridiculous.
Right.
So if you just take a look,
Right.
line up with that would be good. Yeah.
If you could see it. So
Right.
this was the mannequin that we worked on.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I mean, this is how he came. I mean, obviously I cut him.
Right.
But, I mean, once you put the unit on,
Right.
the system on,
Right.
I mean, you cannot tell the difference. And he has his youth back.
Right. I mean, that guy just went from a 40 guy in his 40s to a guy in his
Right.
20s.
Right.
It's
I mean, it is
amazing.
amazing. And I
Yeah.
mean, seeing actual real people
Right.
having this done, I mean, I've seen videos that, you know, men are just, they're in tears because.
Well, it's so emotional.
It is.
It's emotional.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it's great. I mean, even if I don't know if you can get a close up, but even when this is on the head,
Right.
I mean, it looks so real.
It actually looks pretty real right here too, which
Yeah.
I was amazed.
Yeah.
The color is very lifelike. It almost seems like it's dimensional color. It's not solid and flat, which you see
Right.
a lot of time. So what would you say would be because it seems pretty much pain-free. I mean, literally pain-free, but also pain-free.
It is.
In general of maintenance. So you get this done, you walk out with it. What would be a prudent amount of time to come back? I mean, obviously, you're going to come back anyway because the hair that's your own hair,
You have to
you
have
have
a
to cut,
haircut.
right? Otherwise, it wouldn't blend properly.
Right.
So how often do you have to take it? And now you have to take it off.
Right. So when you come back, I
Right.
mean, and everybody's different. Depends on what your lifestyle is. Depends on
Sure.
how you take care of it. But I mean, it could be 4 to 6 weeks, but it's kind of like the average of a
So
haircut.
it's like just like getting the men's short once a month haircut. You come
Right.
back once a month, and then you do new medical adhesive.
So I would take it off.
Uh-huh.
I would clean the system.
Right.
Clean the scalp.
Uh-huh.
Reapply. I mean, it would probably take an hour and a half of your
Wow.
time, you know, and
How does that make you feel as doing something that really changes the way somebody feels about themselves?
that's
Right?
what I love about my job. I mean,
Yeah.
to be able to transform
And make somebody feel good?
and to make yes, that's where the
That's a
gratification
gift,
is.
right? That's a
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah, that's where the gratification is. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, we're coming down to our last minute. I do want to say, Stacey, you've done a terrific job with Crusades, the salon/barber shop, and making men feel comfortable. And I love it. I feel comfortable. Prices are affordable. The people are very professional. So tell us once again. So it's Crusades Barber Shop.
right.
You're on Route 31 in Flemington, New Jersey.
Correct.
You're on the same side of the of 31 as the Flemington department store.
Correct.
And then your website is?
Crusadesbarbers.com.
Crusadesbarbers.com. And then just the phone number one more time.
908-284-0019.
Any last minute tips on men, things that they shouldn't do? Sideburns, no sideburns, bangs for men, no bangs for men. Anything that you're like that's a no-no for men's haircuts?
You know, nowadays anything goes.
No, I know.
Anything goes nowadays. I think it just depends on what generation you're at.
You're in, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being my guest,
Thank
Stacey.
you.
Bye-bye.